Using keyboard shortcuts significantly speeds up spreadsheet work. In my opinion, every Excel user who aspires to be advanced should know and use the shortcuts from the beginning. You will see the shortcuts written with a plus sign, which means that you need to hold down a few keys at once. For example, Ctrl+C means hold down the Control key and press the C key. The most commonly used keyboard shortcuts are the aforementioned Ctrl+C, which copies. You can easily remember this one because C stands for copy. Let's copy the data from the first product in January to the second product in February. To paste the copied data, I use Ctrl+V. To finish copying, which means getting rid of the flashing frame around the copied cell, you can either do another operation or press the escape button on the keyboard. Ctrl+P is for printing. P stands for print. Ctrl+B emboldens the selected text or cell, or if something is already emboldened, it'll be removed. B stands for bold. Ctrl+U underlines in the same way as bold, and U stands for underline. Ctrl+S. S stands for save, and this shortcut saves the file. Ctrl+F finds something. F stands for find. For example, let's find product 1. Product 10 was also found, since it contains the word product and the number 1. If we decide to find everything, we'll find all the cells containing the text product 1. Ctrl+A. A stands for all, and it selects the entire table. We'll activate a random cell in table 2, then use Ctrl+A and it selects the entire table. This is especially useful for larger tables. Alt+Tab. Alt-Tab allows us to flick between other active applications on our computer. Ctrl+Z. Ctrl+Z undoes the previous change. For example, we just undid the underlining, and now we've undone the emboldening. Ctrl+H is a shortcut to access the Replace tool. We'll use Ctrl+H and replace the word product with the shorter prod, and then replace all. Excel says that it has made 13 replacements. Ctrl+Enter puts data into all the selected cells. Let's select the cells in column J, where we want to compare February's data with January's. The formula is equals February's data divided by January's data minus 1. If I pressed Enter now, the formula would only be entered into cell J3, but if I use the Ctrl+Enter shortcut, this growth formula will be copied into all the selected cells. Alt+equals. Alt+equals is a shortcut for summing. If I choose more cells, then use Alt+equals, the sum is immediately entered into all the selected cells. The F4 key on your keyboard repeats the last operation. For example, let's add cells here. We'll insert them and move them down. Now I want to insert cells here. Press F4, and they are added here as well. This significantly speeds up your work. If I select more cells, they'll be inserted into the larger area accordingly. All of these shortcuts also work in other programs such as Microsoft Word and PowerPoint, emailing programs, and internet browsers. On the second sheet, there are some keyboard shortcuts for the more advanced users. Ctrl and Scroll zooms in and out. The same can be done by pressing the plus and minus signs located in the lower right corner of your screen, but using shortcuts is much faster and they also work in other programs. Ctrl, Shift, and the keyboard arrow selects a range from the active cell to the end of the table. For example, if we start from product 3, then use Ctrl, Shift, and the right arrow, it selects the cells to the right. Now I press the down arrow and it selects the entire table from product 3 down. Alt-G, the Alt key located to the right of the spacebar. If we use Alt-G and the letter U, it inserts a euro symbol. Typing Alt-G plus U is much faster than entering the euro symbol using the Insert Symbol tool. If you have a Windows key on your keyboard and hold it down while pressing the Tab key, it switches between active applications just like Alt-Tab, but with an additional graphic effect. Whether it works or not depends on your computer's settings. Ctrl+X is the Cut tool. Let's select the data for product 3 from January, use Ctrl+X and paste it under February for product 11 using Ctrl+V. The data has been cut and pasted into the new cell. You can easily remember it by associating the letter X with a pair of scissors. Ctrl and Page Up or Ctrl and Page Down allow you to navigate between Excel spreadsheets. This allows us to move between sheets much faster than with the mouse. Ctrl and Tab allows you to navigate to other active Excel files. Ctrl and the plus sign inserts rows, columns or cells depending on what was selected before this operation. If you select a row, use Ctrl+ to add a row. If you select two columns, use Ctrl+ to add two columns. If we select some cells, use Ctrl+ to add more cells, but in this case we also have to decide how to arrange the other cells. Ctrl and minus deletes rows, columns or cells and works just like Ctrl+. If you have a numeric keyboard, you'll have easy access to these shortcuts. Shift plus the keyboard arrow allows us to select one cell right, left, up or down. It's worth practicing this as it speeds up your work. Control and the keyboard arrow jumps to the last non-empty cell. If I activate cell E5, then use Control and the down arrow, I've jumped to the last cell in the table. If I activate an empty cell before choosing this shortcut, I will jump to the first non-empty cell or to the beginning or the end of the worksheet. Ctrl+Y redoes an action that you undid and is the equivalent of this arrow. I'll delete some data, then use Ctrl+Z to undo and Ctrl+Y to redo. Ctrl+Shift+L turns the filter on and off. F12, located at the top of your keyboard, is the same as the Save As button, and is useful when you want to change the file's name or location. It's also possible to assign keyboard shortcuts to macros. It's a good idea to automate common operations such as transposing, changing formulas to values, etc., and you can find out more about these macros in the Visual Basic for Application course. It was precisely calculated that adding this page to favorites in your browser increases the chance that you become an Excel expert by 53%. So you better do it now.